Welcome again to my redstone testing world, and today I've got a minecart unloader for you guys. I've got two designs. The reason why I made the second design is because from 1.9 to 1.10 the first design wouldn't work anymore, as well as on single player worlds it would work, and on realms it wouldn't work. This design right here, this is the V1. It's originally by JX67. He came up with this and I adjusted it until it worked for me. And now I'm doing a tutorial on it, so you know how to build it. The thing with this is you cannot have hoppers facing down. And that's quite important, because the speed of a hopper that is going down is higher than one facing into a chest or another hopper. Did have a lot of problems with that, and well, debugging it. This is basically the only way to do it. Why is this important? Let me break a couple of blocks here. That's all what these command blocks are doing. It's got an on-off switch, just like this. Now we'll go pick up these dirt blocks. And once this hopper minecart comes back, it will be held back by this fence gate, and that will in turn put it on these two hoppers at once. As you can see, it unloads way faster than a single hopper unloader would do. Of course, it's got a lot of benefits. You can have less unloading stations for a bigger area, and as soon as this thing is empty, it will open the fence gate and will release the minecart again, and it will go collect its things it will collect. Problems with it was not reliable in catching the minecart every single time. Also would break randomly, and I never figured out why that was, so I made a version 2. It's right here. It's slightly more complicated, but not really. The only thing it did is add a delay right here. That way you wouldn't power the rails a lot faster. And this helped, adding enough delay in there to actually catch the minecart, as well as power the rail as well. So it became much more reliable than this design. This one basically always needs a redstone signal on this track in order to keep working, and this one will only get that redstone signal, only put it in once it's unloaded. So it's a little different. That one's always on, this one isn't. Let me demonstrate. I think 2 was the magic number right there. So we'll open and also power that track. So we'll do a thing. We'll pick up all the pieces, and once it comes back, it will perfectly stop, and fence gate will close, and also the power rail will turn off. And that happened to be a little bit more reliable than this design. So I still recommend building this one, but if you slightly want to cheap out on the resources, you could build this one. Now let's head over to the building part. Let's grab all these blocks real quick. We need that, we need that, that. We also need that. We need chest. So how do you build this? First of all, let's start with chest and have 2 hoppers facing into it, and then a redstone comparator going out. A block. Let's grab a redstone torch. Put a block on top of that. Then put a repeater on top of that. and put a block in front of it. Now let's grab some rails, because we're also gonna need those. The thing is, you also always need a normal rail right there to not interact with the redstone you have elsewhere, because these two need to be separated. It's very important. So hold up, let's remove these. It's not time to add those yet. So you did that. Place a block on top of that. It's just temporarily. Put a fence gate on top of that. And on top of that fence gate we put a block. And then we can switch to the powered rail. Put 2 pieces of power rail there. One piece of rail there. Or a powered, depending on what you like. Break it. So we'll leave this slanted piece of rail. Put a block in front of there. And grab a piece of, or a half slab, doesn't really matter which one it is. Same with the fence gate or these blocks. You can have any block you want as long as this is a half slab and as long as this is a fence gate. Then for the final block right there, and then to wire it all in to make it work, some redstone. And that's basically the whole thing already done. Important is, never do this. Never have hoppers on underneath that. That will break the system, and trust me, you cannot get that to work. I tried a lot of different things to make these tileable, so they could be right next to one another. But also, these are efficient enough not to be needing that. So I've got a fish farm right here, and it doesn't need this many. But as you can see, you can stack them or tile them. Just needs to be one empty slot in between them. And these minecarts are extremely fast in whatever you want to clear. They will keep doing that. So what I usually do is, like if this is the strip I want to do, I go 4 rails over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the end of the 4th track system, so let's say that's a track, and that's another track, and there's your 4th track, and you could build one right here. For a distance, that is 3 chunks. You could even do more, so that way it will unload once it goes this way, and then once it does that whole loop, it will also unload at the end. So the end and the start both have an unloading system. I'm even with a farm as efficient as this one on a realm, it's more than fast enough to even go 8 tracks instead of 4. So you can actually go all the way up to, what is it? Let's see, 3. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you could go to here and then have the beginning station, this the end station, and just have it loop back and forth. It will pick up almost a full hopper every single time, but it's also super fast in unloading. That also needs time to build up items. Basically use this system for about every single farm that needs a hopper collection system nowadays. So I hope you guys can enjoy this tutorial. Of course, you need to add a minecart. You can also use this unloading system with other different types of minecarts, like the chest one, and that should also work without any problems. Let's see. Yeah, the chest would also work like perfectly, but then you need a loader. I also have a system for that, but that will be for another day. As you can see, they were both perfectly. I would recommend building this one. I found it more reliable, but this one will also work. It's much easier to build as well. Just a lot lighter on the resources. Both have an on and off switch, so if you want to turn it off, right there, and this one right there. So next time it will come in, we'll be able to pass under that, but once it wants to leave, it cannot. Let's wait on that. See? Cannot leave. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this little tutorial and the explanation of why these hoppers need to be like this instead of like this. It's quite important.